All right, happy Wednesday and welcome to the Citizen Council live stream. It's Chris and Brandi.
Hello,
How's,
everyone.
how's it going? Oh, the music's starting again. You know, when we did that in-person one together, I forgot to turn off the music and someone was commenting, they're like, does it sound like there's like space music in the background? And it
Yes,
was the
that's
whole
how we
like half
roll.
hour. Yeah,
Oh, how
so,
funny.
but I turned it off this time. We're good. How's it going?
Yeah. It's going good. I'm a little bit beat. I had a long day today. Um, it was a solid, well, we're working on a solid like 13-hour day of getting stuff done. So,
Of politicking. Dang.
oh, yeah, I had stuff that I had to get done early this morning. So my stuff was taken care of. And then going down and doing the signature collection. Yeah, that was a good time. We can get into that a little bit. And then wrapping it up this evening with more work. So, and then I get to come and hang out with you lovely people, which is a little bit of a fun break. So
There you go. Well, thanks
thank
for
you. Yeah.
doing all that and then still being on the live stream. We've been slightly inconsistent with them, so I think I get like we do some really good ones and we get some really good interviews, and I'm like, oh, I want to make everyone like better and better and better. And then when like it's an
Yeah.
off week and I just don't have anything, I feel like overwhelmed. Like I have, and then anyways, so but we did it. We're here. We're here. So how
And these little lulls are kind of fun though too. It's kind of nice to just have a nice slow show, I guess.
I have nothing planned, but you've been doing a lot of stuff. You have
Yeah.
been doing this petition. Yours is the recall for Governor Kotek, and then you've
Yes.
been kind of pairing it with Rob Taylor has an end vote by mail, and then you'll have to remind me about the other one, but it's like roads or something, toll roads.
Returning the power to make the decision to install toll booths on roads, giving that power back to the voter. That was
Okay.
taken away from the voter by a legislative decision to give that power to legislature. And this would be an initiative that would go on the ballot for the voter to vote to take back that power, is how I understand it would work.
How do you think it's going? You've obviously been meeting with a lot of people from a lot of different areas. You've been all over the county.
Yeah.
Um, what's your
It's been
assessment? Are people excited? Are people like dejected about government? What's the vibe?
I really think people are very hopeful. People are super excited to see all of these petitions, and even people who don't want to sign them are still respectful of this democratic process. And so that has been really cool. We have not had people give us a hard time, which I'm very grateful for. Um, I understand that protests and things like that have their place, but when people are trying to exercise their democratic process, I think it's important to make sure that they get to do that peacefully, and shouldn't be given a hard time doing it. And that so far, it has been wonderful. We have met a lot of different types of people. The people who are willing to have that conversation and think things through kind of give me hope. We've had a lot of people who actually wanted to learn more before they would sign. And, some people will just kind of brush you off, but some people are like, oh, tell me about it. And then they're like, well, I think I would like to research it myself before I make a decision. And that's so great to hear. I love hearing
That's a
that
good
people
thing for
act.
sure.
Yeah, like go learn and maybe you'll come to a different a perspective than we have or something, and so it's always great when people want to get involved. It's been fun, honestly. Weather was great today. The farmers market is always has like a great energy. There's so much deliciousness there. Um, yeah, it was a good time.
I think people sometimes confuse petitions with protests. And I mean, they're
Yeah,
similar in a way. Like a petition is one of the most constructive protests you could do.
yeah.
So it is a protest in a way, especially a recall, but you're being constructive, like the most constructive you could possibly be. I mean,
It's a
the
legal
only way to
process.
be more constructive would be like if you yourself ran against Tina for governor, but that's not
Yeah.
always feasible. And this is a way to kind of keep them in check too. Like just because you got elected doesn't mean you get free reign for 2 or 4 years or however many years you're elected. You
Right.
don't just get free reign. And
Right.
Rob's stuff. the kind of like ballot initiative stuff. Those things are great. Not every state does that. And it gives you a chance to not have to like always like run for office and be like a leader. You can present
Yeah.
an idea, not an like if you're running for office, you're presenting an entire platform and it's personal. You're like, it's
Yeah.
me. Can I deliver the platform? But the ballot initiative is pretty nice because it's like, hey, here's an idea that's not attached to people or platform. It's one concrete idea. Do you agree, yes or no? And that's awesome. And so yeah, people do get up in arms about it, but I
Yeah.
haven't seen that around you guys. So I was at the farmers market last week with you, and I didn't see anybody
Mhm.
upset. I mean, people certainly were like politically shy, would be a
I
nice way to
think
put it.
people were, we had a, I feel like we had a warmer reception this time around. I feel like we were being looked at by people who were expecting a disruptive element because the political, kind of stuff in Coos Bay has been disruptive.
For
And so
sure.
they were expecting more of that.
Combative.
And yeah. And I do want to say that a petition, a recall petition like this, and a protest is very different. One is chaos, and one is a legal process.
It's purpose
A
driven. You have a
very,
goal, a
yeah, it's
defined goal.
one can be done and is done on a regular basis by a 3-year-old. Literally, like when a kid has a temper tantrum on the grocery store floor, they are protesting. And that's even like, it's,
I like that analogy.
well, it's the greater use of the word. It's a greater overarching meaning of the word to protest. So when a dog whines because it has to go outside in the rain, that's a protest, right? And so the word has overarching connotation. And I do want to stress that the petitions are really structured, rigorous, legal, legislative kind of, how would you call that? Like the legal process of going through the political mechanism.
There's also a third mechanism called a rally. Like you don't always have to protest. Like protest is like I'm
Yeah.
anti something, and instead you could flip it into a rally. Like last winter we were upset about them shutting down the jail and defunding law enforcement. So instead of
Yeah.
doing like a protest against that action, whatever you would call it, we did a rally for law
Yeah.
enforcement to support
Yeah.
them. And I would always encourage people to think that way before just doing the what do they do like every week now in Coos Bay on the boardwalk they have a protest against what they're like
I don't know.
the Democrat Party, they're the party of democracy, but yet they're protesting against the democratically elected Senate and House and presidency. I,
Right. Right.
and you go there and you try and understand what they're upset about, and they're upset, that's clear, but what it concretely is and what they want to get out of it are two different things. So I don't know, but
It's the yell. I don't go to Coos Bay anymore when that stuff is going on. I don't want to be around it. I don't, it's way too much screaming and yelling and chaotic energy for me. I
just
don't enjoy
anger.
it. Yeah, it's just, it's not even anger. It's, I'm trying really hard not to be offensive. It's
Well,
just an
where was
energy
all
that
the
is
anger
not for
for
me.
like the government shutdown in 2020 and 2021, right? Like those people, like they're all against authoritarian regimes, yet were
Yeah,
completely
right,
silent during the government lockdown
right,
of
right.
2020 and 2021. I mean, but here we are asking certain individuals to be rational who have proven not to be. So, but
Yeah.
we've got a comment from Regina. She says, thank you both
Thank
for
you,
all you do.
Regina.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Regina, for all you secretly do in the background, because some people aren't right out here in the crowd. They're kind of behind the scenes doing things. And
Oh, I met Regina
even
today. Yeah.
did you? Okay,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
cool. Even just giving words of encouragement at the right moment can be
Yeah.
a world of difference. So
I've noticed, so with the petitions, because you have to be meticulous. You have to print, you have to sign, date a certain way, you have to print your name, and then you have to write your address perfectly. And so I feel like the rigorous nature of the work requires a little bit of more behavioral structure. So like we can't just be willy-nilly yelling and screaming. That would be, it's just not suitable to the work of petitioning. And so I think that's why the petitioning appeals to me, because it is structured. It is like, listen, it's either something you can read up on and support or you don't. I don't really, I'll educate people if they're interested in my perspective, but I'm not like out there trying to change minds. I'm just out there trying to be an agent of democracy and give people who want to have a voice a voice.
Well, while you're out there and you got these 3 petitions going on, like, was there any pattern that, like, besides those 3 petitions that people like it where they like, "Oh, I'm really upset about homelessness," or I'm really upset about crime," or "I'm really upset about the economy." Like, was there any consistent gripe or pain point in the community?
Yes. The disregard for the welfare of the homeless. So everyone agrees that the homeless are a problem, but one specific thread that I found that everyone really meets on, because different people have very different perspectives on homelessness. And one overarching thread, I think, is that we can all agree that allowing mentally ill people to live in tents in forests is inhumane. And that's one of the sticking points for me is 3 years of Tina being in office. Why couldn't she just come out and say to the media, this is inhumane. We cannot be leaving people to live like this. Because to me, that's like it's human. Like you're a human recognizing another human being. And regardless of the other circumstances, like where they need to be housed, some should probably be in jail, some should be in rehab, some should be in a permanent long-term residential facility, some should probably be in halfway housing, right? And there are different, like some of that could be community based and some of that should be state run probably. So the problem requires a scalpel. And people tend to disagree on those once you parse all those issues out. But the one thread I think is that everyone recognizes that what we're allowing to happen right now is inhumane.
I think it would be nice to have a governor that has a viable solution, like has a plan, and they are confident about it. Because I don't think we have leaders right now who have that. Like they don't actually have a plan, so they go and get distracted by other low-hanging fruit and try and solve those problems. And homelessness kind of just is like it's just a society problem, is what essentially what they chalk it up as, and they give up. There's not a it's not their job, I guess. They've decided, Tina's decided it's not my job as Oregon governor to save society who has this
Oh, I would
problem
agree with that. It's
with
not her job
homelessness.
to save society. I would say, though, I think the hesitancy to solve the problem stems from an unwillingness to say a very unpopular truth or a collection of very unpopular truths.
Just be real with people.
Man, when you start going down the accountability pipeline, that's where a lot of the ideological kind of I don't what would you call it, like the ideological avenues or ideological solutions, there we go, they really start to fall apart. But there are solutions out there. Nobody wants to step up and be the person to say we have to put people in an institution where they don't have full physical freedom to come and go as they please. When someone is a threat to themselves or other people, they may not be suitable for prison, whether it be a mental facility, mental capacity, or maybe the crimes are just not high enough level. But when an individual is absolutely terrorizing a community and they're like unable to self-sustain, like the type of person who can't keep their own booty clean, like are out of their, people are going to need long-term residential facility care,
The,
and nobody wants to be the one to bring back insane asylums, basically.
well, don't call them that.
That's where every
um,
mind goes, though. You know what I mean? Like, of course we could do better. Of
yeah,
course we could do better. We have the ability to technologically monitor so that if abuse does occur, it's caught right away. Like, there
right.
are checks and balances for these types of things that we didn't have even 10 years ago. And so there is huge opportunity to humanely commit people.
I mean, we didn't
Uh,
have HR departments back then. We didn't even have social media where somebody could
right,
just whistle blow, boom,
right,
or the media, they could go on
right.
television and tell a story about something that happened. But the
Yeah,
consistent thread I got in the 2-year deep dive I've done around here into like crime, homelessness, transient bums, whatever you want to call addicts, that whole category, they've kind of explained it that like you have to solve it indirectly. Like you have to build up our economy and rejuvenate this county and this area on the coast so that we have the income, like the tax income and the jobs, and it's like a whole solution, wholesome thing. But then it's like, okay, well, who do you like point to some area in the state that you want to be like then? Like, what do you want to, okay, we're going to bring in this big port project and it's going to create thousands of jobs and we're going to have all this money and tax income and jobs for people and housing and all this, right? Well, okay, so we're going to be Portland. Portland has those issues too. Like Portland, so you have an area with lots of jobs, lots of taxes, lots of opportunity, and you still have these same exact issues. Actually, they're
right,
worse.
right.
So I don't like that falls flat. So that's actually not a plan. And then you go back to like, well, what about the direct solutions? Like if someone is a criminal, if they have warrants, or if they're actively committing crimes, there's a jail for that and there's a legal process for that. Or if they're an addict, you have sobering centers and treatment programs. And if they're mentally ill, you like there are direct solutions for all these individual problems, and we're just
Yep.
not using them. So
Right,
the problem in my mind is that we're just literally we've abandoned all of the actual solutions
right,
in replacement of no solution,
right.
and then here we are, and we're
They've
thinking that
eliminated
like
solutions.
and
So when an inmate goes to county jail, they lose their OHP, which means they lose their
why?
ability to continue to get drug rehabilitation services. Can we just step back and be like, hey, Tina, there's some low hanging fruit. Maybe instead of walking in a parade where you celebrate your sexuality, you could make it so that inmates can still get drug treatment when they go to the county jail by just apparently, according to Kamala Harris, all it takes is a swipe of your pen, right? You have so much power, these people apparently. So that's where my patience is. I'm done. I have absolutely no patience for these people who blatantly refuse to solve very simple problems.
Well,
Um,
they tell us there's no money for law enforcement, for the DA's
right,
office, for the jail, for patrol, any of it. Yet then all over the news the past week or so is that the Oregon legislature just approved $100 million for our port project. So
right,
where do you pull $100 million out of your ass
right.
when we have law enforcement being defunded in our county? Like, how do
Right.
you balance that? That doesn't make any sense. So someone's lying to us.
So
Somebody's just spewing
FYI
bullshit because
County,
there's money for it.
Coos County, when they do go, just so they can have a heads up, when you go to build stuff, FYI, people who want to come and like build the port, without law enforcement, your job site is going to get robbed regularly.
Well,
You
like, could
will,
it have been 98 million for the port and then 2 million for law enforcement? Because 2
right?
million would have kept our jail open and our prosecutors and patrol. Like, we wouldn't have had to fire
Right.
anybody this year. And yes, we would need the money next year, but isn't it it's like a $4 billion port project. So 100 million is just like nothing.
Right.
And I'm sure they're going to have to get another couple 100 million next year. So
Right.
like we can and hey, another year of supporting law enforcement is another year. That's good. That's a good thing. So like I
Right.
just don't like I don't know, sick and tired
And
of
but there's
hearing
also
the excuses.
there's a deeper community issue with people not wanting to support the sheriff's department because they see the revolving door. They see the people going into the jail and coming right back into the community and doing the exact same thing over and over and over. And so that is another, and that's not really the sheriff's department's fault, right? Like the state has caps on sentencing. And
Lots of roadblocks.
yeah. And so there, that's kind
There's
of
more
like,
handcuffs on the sheriff than there are on the
yeah.
inmates.
That seems to be a pervasive thread through society. Um, yeah, but it's this the signatures collection has been really cool. It's been a cool experience to get out in the community and meet people who are like-minded. Oh, thank you, Leslie. I think I met Leslie today too. Yeah,
We're getting
thank
out there.
you.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, it's been fun. And it's kind of gotten people interested, you know, really, and we should be encouraging people to register to vote. You should re-register if you haven't voted in a while, because there is a chance that you would be removed from the voter rolls if you have not voted in a period of time. And right now there's a lot of pressure for Oregon to clean up their voter rolls because it has been a problem. So you guys see the problem where a state doesn't clean their voter rolls and then they just mail ballots to all of those people on very outdated. We're talking outdated by like 10 years, guys. So people are getting ballots that don't live in this state anymore. People are getting multiple ballots for people that don't live at their homes anymore.
I mean, they'll claim that the signatures are verified. So like if went to your house and took your ballot,
Yes.
I know because I signed my signature stupid and a couple other people I know did, and their ballot still got accepted. So um it's crap. We should all do it. We should have hundreds of people, thousands
That
of
should be in
people
the
just
news.
scribble and turn in their ballot and see if it gets verified or not. Um,
It's so frustrating when you hear stories like that of like the signature verification stuff and the news, the media just ignores it. Like these people literally tested our system and it doesn't work. And
yep.
nobody wants to talk about it. And then they want to treat and vote by mail like it's some kind of extremist movement. You guys, we're using a system that is like really, really antiquated and has not been cleaned in a very long time. And it's producing skewed results. That combined with gerrymandering, we definitely do not have accurate election results. I don't think that they're probably that it's like that skewed, but you can look at elections that are won or lost by 2 or 3%. I can guarantee there's 2 or 3% mistakes being made. That's like, I don't
It's
know.
pretty crazy. You
It's
can go deep
decided
dive
for
into it and it gets crazy. I think
it
we should set up
does.
some sort of like election audit for the next election and do little things all around the county that test the system.
That's
Rob's
actually a really
asking, where did the county sobering center go? Just another year. Seriously, like every couple months I hear, oh, we're just a couple months away from the sobering center at the jail, a couple months away. And
I got
like,
mixed information about what that was and how much it was going to cost and how much it would get used. And I don't know if I don't know if there's like a big urge to get it because it was like a lot of money and not actually going to be a huge benefit, or there was some kind of roadblock to it. And I can't remember exactly what it was.
they sure presented it as an amazing solution.
Look,
Um,
I'm going to
is that your
shamelessly
coach?
plug
It's
my,
hard to
yeah,
see on the camera.
I know.
Coaching. If you need is it life coaching or like executive coaching?
Habit
Business coaching.
change.
Okay.
Habit change. And it kind of branches over. I do work with health, career, leadership.
I have this unhealthy habit where I do a live stream every Wednesday. Can you help me get it out of it? It's affecting
What
my,
makes you feel like it's unhealthy?
oh, yeah, I think it's productive. I think it's good.
Yeah.
I think I talked about it last show. I've put so much energy into the political stuff that I have life debt. I have so many other things that, if it's
Yeah.
like, okay, if I do this, I give up, cooking a nice dinner tonight. So then I have
Yeah.
to go out, and then
Yeah.
I put an extra couple pounds on from going out to eat, and then I have to start running and get back into it. Hey, I broke 8 minutes per mile today in my run.
Wow, good
That's why my
job.
beard looks like this, because it was the
The
air
wind
blowing it.
blew
Yes,
it
yes.
back. Yeah.
I've not been
Impressive.
under 8 minutes a mile in a long, long time. So
Cool.
anyways. Well, but seriously, people you have clients, you're trying to
Oh,
to
yeah.
launch this coaching thing, and, that's cool. That's a lot. You're doing a lot. You're
It's
doing a
I'm
new
done. I'm
coaching thing.
launched. I'm like officially doing it. I do have a few spots. I think I have 3 spots left that I could do at the moment, but it's getting tight fast. But they're typically 90-day programs. And so like
Okay.
every month or so, I'll have new openings coming open. But
That's
it's
cool for people because it's not like a full, like, forever commitment. It's like a 90-day program.
No,
Okay.
it's very goal oriented. So you come into this going, I know I want something to change. Something's got to change. And it may be they're unhappy at work or at home with their fitness, with whatever kind of it is. Maybe people want to make a new purchase and they want to like, how do I get myself into a position where I can afford to buy a thing? And so you set some goals and you take people through kind of a journey through their own skill set, through their own mind and skill set, and help them find stuff that works for them. So you pick habits and you figure out what you need to change to get a different result, to get the result you want. And then you set up all your little anchors that you use to support that new habit. So you remember to do it. And you work through roadblocks and you work through stuff like self-sabotage when it comes up. And by the end of 90 days, you've got somebody who's, markedly different in their perspective and their way of thinking and significantly closer to their goal or have, achieved their goal. So it's
That's pretty
cool.
cool.
It's a
Pretty
career
pretty cool
where
to
I
be a part
just,
of someone's transformation.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Is I just get to watch people blossom. So it's fantastic.
I was in this running rut. Like, you can get all these tools for things, right? Like, you can have a GPS watch and a heart rate monitor and apps on your phone that analyze it all and give you all these cool graphs and tell you what you need to do and what you need to not do. And I wasn't getting anywhere. And I mean, I was a semi-professional runner years ago. Like, I'm not just like a novice. And so like I know what to do, but I was just 9-10 minutes a mile, which is like crazy slow for me. But I couldn't run any faster. Every time I went to run, I was exhausted. I couldn't do it. And it was really starting to get into me. I just like didn't want to run anymore, which is like I've never felt that way. Anyways, but like with the heart rate monitor, it's this tool where like you run within zones and you're not supposed
Mhm.
to overexert beyond a certain amount, or you can on some days, but like most days you keep it below like 20% of your max heart rate. Anyways, I was pushing like 75, 80 on easy runs. And I gave it up. I just said, you know what? Like, sometimes tools don't work. And I took the heart rate monitor off. I've been wearing it for months and months and months. And I'm like, I'm going to go run without it. And I'm just going to run. I'm just going to just go by feeling. And then boom, it was like I did that last week. The past week has been incredible. I'm sure my heart rate is through the roof, but like I'm running faster and I'm loving it and feeling good. And I went from like 9-minute miles down to, I was at like 7:45 pace today, just like
Nice.
in 1 week. So like, yeah. So I'm telling people the story, not to give myself props, but if you're stuck in a rut somewhere, look at the tools you're using, the crutches and things like that, like the
Yeah.
routines you're in, and maybe something needs to change. Maybe you're something that used to work for you, like the heart rate thing used to
Yeah.
work wonders for me, doesn't anymore. So
Yeah, that's
I don't know.
exactly it. And sometimes it is an outside perspective. Once you kind of see it from another point of view. You can point out things that other people might not see. It's hard. You can't see what's too close
You
to your
put on your
face.
blinders. Yeah. It's like
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
like, why would I ever look at the heart rate monitor? Because it's just something I always do. I would never even look at it, right? Yeah, for sure. People
That's funny.
can get like that. Rob, I I don't know. I'm not gonna tell that story. Yeah, I can outrun cops for sure. Anyways, good to have you listening, Rob. What does he say? There's a special fund for specifically for dredging. So yeah, I'm sure some government official, if they're listening to me say, "Why can't you give money to the jail? You're giving 100 million to the port for dredging." They're going to be like, "Oh, it comes out of a special fund, and it can only be used
That's
for dredging."
so make a
Well,
special fund for police.
I'm done. I'm at this point in my life. I'm pushing 40. I'm done hearing that. I think everybody's done hearing the special fund.
We
There's
are.
a special fund for this and that. I don't care. Make us, yeah, like make a special fund for police then. Like we're done.
It's so weird how di- intentionally difficult people
Yes.
in power make everything.
Yep.
It is not that hard, and I understand that there can be repercussions. Maybe put some wiser people in positions of power.
Take the
We've
handcuffs off. I
pulling
mean,
back
like
on the
on my
demographic.
on my tax bill, it doesn't say, $4 for dredging. You know what I mean? Like they just take it. They just take the tax.
Right? Just
Um,
take them and use them for sheriffs, you guys. Take them and you take the money and use them for jails. Take them and use them for actual institutions where people have to go get rehabilitated. You know, that's a good point that we should kind of like take a minute to recognize. Oregon has tried to model themselves off of other countries' social policies. So a lot of these progressive states have, right? Look at Denmark. Look at Finland. Those countries have completely different expectations of social responsibility.
for sure.
You do not get the choice to be a drug addict if you're a problem, or, like you don't get to choose to be a problem.
You
They
don't
put
see
you in an
trash on the
institution.
streets.
No, you're not allowed to do it. They make you go into an institution and they make you become rehabilitated and they make you do something to give back. So there's all of this talk about rights, but no talk about responsibility. And it sounds cliche, but that is the heart of a lot of our social problems right now. Yes, people should be free to make the choice, to do certain things, but they also should have a responsibility to not be a freaking terrorist to their neighbors.
Yeah. Now we're back to the society problem, which we don't have a solution for right now.
That's
But
true.
Rob is clarifying his earlier statement. So he was talking about the dredging fund because he's saying the state spent that 100 million that they didn't have to spend because the feds could have used their fund for dredging. So the state could have given that $100 million for criminals. So they could have used it. I thought
Oh,
he was saying the
wow.
100 million came out of the dredging fund. He's
That was
saying
what I thought
no.
too.
So even worse. Yeah, he's saying they need 500 million more to complete the dredging, that's staggering sum. And I stood at like again, 498 million can go to dredging and 2 million can go to law enforcement. Like, can the county impose a dredging tax? Like for every 10 million for dredging,
Yeah.
10,000 has to go to the county or
Yeah.
100,000 has to go to like a tax. I don't know. I hate taxes, so
I
I don't
know
know.
there's not a ton like with that stuff. And this is okay. Here's a good point. Why does our governor feel so entitled to disregard federal law? But if one of us counties disregarded state law and started ethically harvesting timber in some of the places and selling it and making money off of it to fund our law enforcement, the state would come and overtake the county. The state would come and completely sequester the county. we're not allowed, like, we don't have that privilege. And so there's a bit of a power imbalance there, isn't there?
For sure.
I mean, it's kind of the audacity. Like, how does this woman think that she's entitled to buck state law? Shouldn't she, the same way, feel that we, like, do we have the choice to just like do our own thing? Because I don't think we do.
I'm trying to pull up an article
Doug.
and
Yeah,
read comments
I
at the same
don't
time.
know a ton about him, but I don't think he would have much time to do anything because there would be
Yeah.
another election to replace him. He would be an interim. So I don't know how much he could really do. I mean, I don't know. They're all trying to do some
We
weird
need it.
stuff.
We
So
need some realistic candidates for the next election, and filing is in like a couple weeks.
do we know if
And I don't.
Drazen is going to run again?
I'm sure she will.
She
I'm
should.
not. Uh, I don't know. We need something totally fresh and new and revolutionary, and I don't think Christine Drazen is it. But
I don't
I'm
think a
sure
person
she'd be
like that's
better
going to get
than
elected, though.
we haven't seen them supported statewide. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
there's been people that we don't even know of that have tried to run for governor and just like pitter pattered out in some other part of the county. But we've got to. That's why I try and work from the ground up. We got to work on interacting with other counties so that when that person does come along, we can all get behind them and all support them and all push them to the forefront and give them an opportunity. But um, Jeff is telling me about an article, and it says, I'm trying to pull it up. He sent me a screenshot. It says, City of Coos Bay receives nearly $2 million from the state to tackle homelessness. They've been awarded a $1.93 million grant from the state of Oregon to purchase and renovate what used to be the Bologna Ranch property.
Okay.
And that is actually something that I talked with the city manager and the mayor, I don't know, shit, probably a year ago. And I would get fully behind that plan. That
I
that
was going to
sounds like
say,
a great idea.
not a terrible idea.
I've been to the ranch. It's a county
Mhm.
property, and it's actually
Mhm.
fairly turnkey. So I hope they put more of that money into operations, like ongoing operations, than like
Mhm.
renovations. It doesn't have to be fancy, but I mean, they have plenty of space there. They have a facility with like dormitory style rooms and classrooms and a commercial kitchen. They've got a little garden area. They've got a recreation area. I mean, it's great. Like that would be an amazing facility for people who are willing to help themselves and
Yeah.
motivated to help themselves, but not just like a place to send crazy people and hope that magically they get better. And definitely not a place to store criminals who are going to cause all sorts of problems with people who are actually trying to positively change their lives. Um, you can go through the legal process, and when you're done being a criminal, maybe you can go to one of these places. But I don't
They're
know.
going to have
I
to
think that's
do this.
actually a good thing
If they go
if they can do
through,
it right.
it's depend on how, exactly. It's going to depend on how it's done. If this is done in a way where this is the option that you have to go into a treatment center, and or you have to go into a secure shelter, or you get arrested. And I think if this all came together as a package deal to kind of increase law enforcement's effectiveness as a whole, I think the voters would go for it. People just don't want to spend money on something that's not working. Like, we need a larger, more holistic plan of attack. This seems like it could be part of that.
I mean, I heard about it from the county. Commissioner John Sweet had told me about it, and at a commissioners meeting, and I drove there right after, and like I teared up looking at the area and the possibilities. And then I went straight to the mayor, who had already he it's not like my idea. He had already talked about it. John and him had already talked about it. Um, so they just needed help, obviously money, so but this is weird. So when you Google it on all the news sites, it's gone, as if like, and it seems like the news broke 2 days ago and then it just vanished, as if like somebody wasn't supposed to leak that
Well,
story. Like I've never seen this. This is weird. Jeff saying like when you Google it, you see lots of 404s, page not found. And he's right. Here, let me share the um like I Google searched. How do I go back? Oh, I can't go back. But I Google searched Bologna Ranch, Coos Bay, and like you see a news article from KCBY from 2 days ago. You click on it and it's not there. It's gone. And you can search in their thing and it's not there. That's weird.
if
But it's
our, city council leaders and our mayors and our even our commissioners and stuff want to know why the public doesn't trust them, this,
yeah,
because it looks sneaky, and it probably
it does.
isn't. You know what I mean? It probably is like not nefarious at all, but it looks really bad.
I mean, I don't know how it would be. We'll see what happens, but I would love for that to be a reality and for someone to do a good job with it,
Mhm.
because it's the other thing is it's like just sitting there. It needs to be used. It's gonna, every year that goes by that the facility is not being used, it's going to turn into a situation where then they will need millions of dollars to rehabilitate it. From what I
So
saw, it was turnkey.
here's another benefit. If they do have a shelter, a running shelter, I believe they can legally just completely kick people off the streets, out of the parks, out of the woods and everything. I think they
I
can
think it has to
then,
be in the city limits, and this is about probably 5-6 miles outside the city limits. It's 2 miles south of the split, 42 split, I believe, on the
they can
101.
expand city limits.
They could.
I mean, that if
I
I
don't
was a
know.
mayor,
Maybe that's
that's
what they're looking
immediately what
into.
I would look at doing so that I could clean up my city.
Yeah.
And you would have to go talk to residents about it.
I mean,
And
it would,
literally, like, go talk to them. I'm just like, literally, go have conversations, mayors, with the residents and talk to them about stuff like that.
I think they're of the mindset that they're the mayor and you're supposed to come to them because they're amazing, you
That's
know,
true. Well, I get that
but
they're
only
very
with
busy
positive
and
things.
I don't think that it's like, I mean, okay, maybe that is true in some circumstances, but I think the vast majority are probably just so overwhelmed with the people that do reach out to them. But if you want to get something done, like, okay, if that is the case and it has to be in city limits, then get serious about talking to the residents about becoming a part of the city so that you can enforce that ordinance and kick people out of this area that are not coming here to be prosperous. Like, I don't want to be a welfare town. When people talk about like, oh, Coos Bay becoming the Portland of the coast, look up the statistics for Portland. Look up how bad things have gotten, like by the numbers. Look up the increases in crime. Look up the decrease in quality of life. Why would we want that? It's such a stupid thing to say. And like,
But they love it.
that's a
That's what
mean
they
thing to
want.
say, but
Yeah.
it's like you
Yeah.
have every marker of like social degradation. Why would you ever want it's
Is it, what do they call it? Progress? Progressive? It's progressive. Portland is progressive. It's amazing. They have men can go in women's restrooms. Isn't that progressive? Isn't that amazing? Sounds like progressive society to me. I don't know. You're about to punch the
yeah,
screen.
it's just so
On what about the drought?
uh
That was another news story I saw today. We're in a drought. The sheriff. It
oh
was weird
god.
that it came from the sheriff's office, which I guess they're like emergency management too. So
Right.
like a drought
Yes. Yeah.
emergency, but it's like we're in a drought.
I
What?
saw people writing comments like attacking the sheriff's department. Like, I'm sorry. Are you slow?
I
They
mean, it
didn't
was
make the
weird for a
rule.
normal person, right? Like you're just average Joe. You go on Facebook and an announcement from your sheriff tells you that you're in a drought. It is kind of
I
weird.
didn't see it that
But
way. I saw the sheriff's department sharing a post. Didn't they? They shared it.
no, it was like a press release from the sheriff. They shared an article on Oregon.gov that explained like what a drought is. But I also saw like no official notice that we were in a drought. Like who decided that? And like I have a well. I've worked on wells in the neighborhood, and I can tell you that for a fact that 2 years ago was way worse than this year.
Why
Um,
didn't the I
way
why didn't
worse.
it come from
So I don't
Coos
get it.
FPA?
Yeah. Well, that's like that's like fire. So we are in like fire danger. I don't think we're in red, but I don't know. It's
Because
just weird. Like what does it even do for? I guess like maybe brings extra funds to the area
but
if we're in a
it's
drought.
not the sheriff's department's fault that it was declared, like, the sheriff's department didn't do it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like some people were like taking it as the sheriff's department like made the decision, and that's not the case at all.
And then City of Coos Bay announced a moratorium on storage units. Like, and I don't know if you noticed coming in from the south, coming into Coos Bay, just over the Colbank Slough Bridge, so just inside city limits on the, I guess it would be the western side of 101, is a brand new U-Haul storage center. So it's like you waited till right after that was built to put this moratorium on storage units. That's just, first of all, I believe in like free market and capitalism, so I
Yeah.
don't understand moratoriums, period. But very weird timing as well. Like that's a massive storage facility.
So now they
Um,
don't have competition.
right,
There can be no more competition.
exactly. Like
Like,
that just
did the
reeks.
developer know that they were going to make that legislative decision?
Pretty weird. And like,
Seems kind of
why do
unfair
you
that the
feel as
developer
a
would know and the rest of the public wouldn't know, so that they could get in before the moratorium too.
yeah? And why would you? Why would you get to decide that? Like, why, as a city councilor, why would you get to decide that you just get to pick an industry
Right,
and eliminate it from your town?
right.
That's beyond me to
And that's
understand.
Coos
I think our
Bay.
forefathers are turning in their grave. Yeah, Goose Bay.
What is going on with Coos Bay?
I don't
I'm
agree
hearing
for
so much
any
weird
industry,
stuff
but
coming out of
like
it.
it would be one thing if it was like, okay, no more pot shops in city limits. I mean, I still wouldn't be for it because I believe in free market capitalism,
Right.
but I could see where their thought process
Well, they
is, but
only
it's
give out
like
so many permits for
storage
pot
units.
shops. So did they give out, are there like a certain number of
There's
permits
business
for
permits.
storage?
Well, now
Because
they're
I know
saying
they,
there are because they're not going to issue anymore.
yeah,
But the crazy thing is like they're always complaining that it's hard to move to this area, that they're always trying to attack or attract talent. Like the county says this all the time. We're trying to attract talent from outside the
yeah,
area, and there's nowhere for them to stay. They have to move in tiny little apartments. It's like, well, duh. If you move from another area and you've got a 3,000 square foot house, and now you're moving into a 800 square foot apartment, you're going to have to use a storage unit for a little bit. And well, now we've got a moratorium on them. Is crazy. Jeff saying never been a moratorium on pot shops or fast food. I mean, how many fucking Taco Bells are there in this area? It's crazy.
4.
Like, or Starbucks, or um, yeah, it's crazy. We've
It
like
is
two
market
Burger Kings and no
manipulation,
one
and
goes there.
I don't know that much about it, but I am with you. I am a very free market person, and I have never seen, I mean, maybe you look back, maybe milk subsidies are a good thing. We have some food industry subsidies that are probably a good thing, but generally government manipulation in the markets causes a negative result.
And then who gets to decide when it's over? Like what
Right?
metric are you going to use? Like, is there like a certain number of complaints that you'll end up receiving at city council meetings that will eventually make you overturn it? Is it like an economic forecast? Like,
That would be
if
a
your
good question. Did
population
it
increases,
did they say
oh,
why
you
they
know
were
the
doing it?
answer. I didn't read much of the press release. I think I might have read the whole thing. I don't know. I'll look into it more. But I feel like it's a dead end. You're not going to get metrics out of them. I've tried to get metrics out of them for all sorts of things. I just don't think they believe in it. I don't think they
No is
believe in
still the
tracking
answer, though.
metrics and or setting goals based off of metrics. Numbers,
So
like
if you're making these decisions willy-nilly because you feel like it's the right thing to do, doesn't that seem kind of discriminatory?
yeah. I mean, technically it's not discriminatory because you did it across the board, and storage unit owners is not a protected class in Oregon. So, you know, it's they didn't put a moratorium on white owned storage units. So no,
It
it's
does beg
technically
the
not.
question though, like, yeah, you're not discriminating against any protected class, but are you maybe discriminating against people who didn't pay you a little extra to like lock the
Apparently,
industry down?
that's legal. Yep. As long as you didn't get an envelope of cash,
Mm,
it's legal. And even if you did, you just have to be able to prove it. And if you can't prove it, then it's still legal to get those little envelopes of cash, people.
right?
We got a big comment from Nicholas. He says, in regards to common criminals, social expectation seems to set the precedence as much as state law. The average Coos Countyan I talk to feels like the law is harshest on law-abiding citizens. I agree. Catch and release in Coos Bay is breeding apathy and demoralization when police can't even release mugshots for dangerous criminals walking the streets. Law and order is scoffed at. Hard lesson experiencing this recently in my neighborhood with squatting, drug addicted robbers terrorizing Bandon. And oh crap, it must be like a max. He Nicholas, you maxed out on the message, so it cut
Ah,
it off. But it was good message. I mean, yeah, like this is
yeah,
Nicholas, what you just wrote is exactly what got me involved in politics because it's crazy
same.
and it's bad all around. It's the apathy. You're absolutely right. Like everybody's just like sick, and then like no one wants to participate in government, which is like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like if you're not going to
Yep.
participate, you're not going to get the leaders you want. You're not going to get the solutions you want. Um, so it's that's a big problem. But I think we have a solution, and we need to have organizations like this one and political parties like the Republican Party that present a proper solution to law and order and advocate for people to push it forward. So I think we're working on that.
I'm not seeing a moratorium on storage units.
It was on Facebook. I'll have to find it. It was a press release from like, it wasn't the city page, it was a like the tourism board or something weird. Um, Jeff says it'll be lifted when the new U-Haul place is filled. That's funny. Um,
Probably.
I commented on it. Let me try and find it.
I
Here's
wonder
the
if they
post.
set up a deal with the city that they could moratorium storage units so that until they fill up their storage unit, so that they could make their money back on the investment of building the structure here in
It
our
was an
area.
it was an email from the Coos County Board of Realtors. Um, and they put out the notice. So it wasn't even announced by the city. I can probably check the city council meeting, and I'm sure there was a resolution passed. But Coos County Board of Realtors says notice moratorium on self-storage units in Coos Bay, effective yesterday.
Does put them in a
Which
position where they can really like price gouge, doesn't it?
says the city of Coos Bay will not issue building permits for new storage units citywide. It's addressing an immediate need to protect the city's limited commercial and industrial lands for future needed economic and housing developments. It will be in effect till August 1st of
City
next year.
planning decision.
Um, they said they have 13 different facilities, and I guess 13 is the number. They decided that that's too much. This reeks to high heaven. But here's a link to the resolution. Oh, I gotta switch to the other
Yeah,
page again.
there's an
Just
awful
so
lot of
people.
empty lots and unoccupied buildings in Coos Bay to say that they're needing to preserve land for development. This is a bit of a stretch, maybe.
I
I
mean, it's just
mean,
nuts. This is not how our country was set up to function. I mean, you're not supposed to just um, prevent free market.
right.
Like
You
what? So
know,
you can't buy a property?
if a city wants to come together and plan their city, and the majority of people say, yeah, we don't want more of just people storing their freaking crap in buildings that sit, that I think people should be free to decide how they'd like to be governed. I think my problem with this is how backdoor it appears to be. Was the community engaged in this? Did all of the I'm sure the storage unit owners were all for it, because all it does is allow them to price gouge. It eliminates competition in their market. Were storage units suffering and they don't want to bring in more competition and cause businesses to fail? But just doing stuff like this without any conversation with the community, where it's
Well,
just this one email.
the new U-Haul building is like 3 stories tall. It's absolutely massive. That had to have cost a large sum of money to not only
Yeah,
purchase that land,
yeah,
it was purchased recently and then developed. That's a huge investment from someone who has a lot of money, and people with a lot of money don't usually like to lose their money. They love money. That's why they have a lot of it. And they invested it in this area because there was an obvious need for it. Like
yeah,
it's so you can't say, oh, there's no need for it when there obviously is a need for it.
yeah,
And if you're saying that, well, now that they built that, there's not a need for it, well, then you are literally helping that business and that business alone
yep.
with
Sequester the
secure their
market.
investment. Yes. So it's insane. This is why governments are not supposed to be involved in this sort of stuff. It's just like a big no-no. It's the reason we have principles. You have a principle, you say, no, I believe in free market, capitalism, and laissez-faire government, hands off, reduced government, and we don't do this. And somebody at the city council should have said, no, we don't do this. And then people would have been like, oh, yeah, you're right. We don't do this. And then they would have had rational minds and not made this decision. But they're going
It's
to
just
claim that their
frustrating
rational
that
minds
it's
made the decision. They rationalized it, that it was good for the
yeah.
city because we don't want to have all of our good real estate taken up by storage units. So it's great. Sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, it's I agree with you, and it is market manipulation, and it does. I could understand, I think, some different logics that might be used to justify doing something like that. I would just like to see a governing body that includes the public more in their decision making. They're just
Right. When
everybody's
was
so
the
quiet
announcement
about
like
these are
asking,
big choices.
or when
Like
was the
these are
announcement that
big
it was going to be
choices that
talked about at the meeting?
yeah. If you're going to put limits on the free market, you should be expected to explain yourself.
Although this could backfire. Like it, people might have come overwhelmingly to those meetings and said, we don't want storage units. I mean, it's like
Maybe.
they do that with the Airbnb
Yeah.
stuff. They shut down Airbnbs in the area all the time. Cities do that.
Yeah.
They love
Because
doing
people
that. They
don't want them next door.
blame
Sure.
homelessness on Airbnb. The housing market crisis is because of Airbnb owners. And it's like,
I
that's not
totally
a
get
thing.
though the people that don't want them in their neighborhoods and don't, when you live really close together and you have randos coming in and out, they're not always very respectful. And I could see how that would be really disruptive potentially to a residential neighborhood. It's not meant to be commercial. It's
It's like
not
me
meant to be
saying, like,
commercial.
I don't like that my neighbors have a pit bull and like so they can't have it. Or like I don't
No,
like that they smoke because it blows over
it's
the
not
fence and I
though.
don't like it.
You're taking a property that's residential and using it for commercial uses, which can, yeah,
You're,
it can affect
you're talking to
people.
someone that doesn't agree with zoning.
Oh,
So
that's fair. Yeah. I mean, I
But
kind of do. I think
I understand the argument, but
people have a right to organize their environment the way they see fit. And when a group of people gets together and they decide that they'd like to all live the same way, I feel like that is literally this fabric of society. And to some extent, we need to respect people's right
if
to
it
do
was
that.
unanimous. I
Yeah,
agree if it
well,
was unanimous. At
there's
no
always going
point
to
should a
be,
minority be silenced and into submission just because they're
yeah.
a minority.
I
It's
think there's
like,
a, well, there's a few different conflict modes that we could look at that through, right? So you have competition where there's a winner and a loser. So you're expecting more of a collaborative approach where people come together to create a mutually accepted solution.
I have no problem with like it's not a cult, but like what do they call them? A commune, you know? You
Right.
go there. It's like
Yeah.
this is our land. We're gonna move to
Yeah.
it. We're gonna accept that way of
Yeah.
living. That makes sense. And at any moment you can leave it.
Yeah.
But like to do that in a community, like what if 51% of my neighborhood just up and decided some random ass, oh, we're gonna form a owners association and your
Right.
houses can be any color but brown and cream colored. They have to be wild colors like neon green. I mean, like who, and every time I
Right.
go to the meeting, I lose because I'm in the 49% minority, you know, it's crap. I don't know.
So
I don't
that's a
believe in it.
win lose, right? That's an either or. And so looking at these decisions of how we decide how to structure our communities, it has to be collaborative. Like everybody needs to be able to have a say. Now, I don't know I don't think you can realistically get everyone to agree all the time when you're governing tens of thousands of people. Like
When you're
so
affecting someone's like business or life, then for
yeah,
me, it's like it has to be unanimous.
I would say there
But that's
needs to
me.
be
I'm a little
more
crazy.
involvement. Yeah, I don't see your perspective working out in real life,
It
but
doesn't.
I
It's not
love it
realistic. It's not
philosophically.
realistic. But
Yeah.
ideologically,
There
if you
should be a lot more people participating in these decisions though. And they should be sharing this information. Like it's so easy to share information now. I don't understand the quietness. Like put yourselves out there. People aren't that bad. I know so many people that are afraid to get into politics. They're afraid to speak out. They're afraid to get involved. And I have to say, guys, it's not that scary. People are actually pretty reasonable. And most people, I think we see the absolute crazies online, and people start to think that what's going on online is going to happen in real life. And it just really doesn't. The vast majority of people that you're going to run into working in politics are going to be, and working with the general public, you just need to be thoughtful, you know, be transparent and be thoughtful and be able to be willing and understand that you are obligated to explain yourself. Yes, I have this opinion. These are the reasons why. And of course, people can disagree with you, but we should just have more like transparency around it.
I'm just not in love with the like democracy idea in the sense of like 51% always wins. Like I don't think our founding
I agree
fathers
with
meant
that.
for it to be
Yeah.
a 51% always wins society. It was
Yeah.
supposed to be a republic, which is different.
Yeah.
And like I'd even do two-thirds. I'd love like three-quarters or something, but like literally across the board on all decisions, and then some would even have a higher standard. But it's like if you can't convince two-thirds of a city council or a community or something of an idea, then it probably sucks, in my opinion. And we shouldn't always just keep changing stuff for the simple majority for 51%. If we go
Well,
through the
there
next 100
is,
years always changing things every time the majority pendulum swings, well, like this is never going to work.
well,
We have
aren't
too many laws
there are circumstances where they need two-thirds majority. There are votes like
or like
that.
at the federal level, but not a lot at city council or county level that I know of.
Maybe it
It's
should be
almost
used
always,
more.
oh, for sure. I would huge advocate for that. Yep. Term limits and super majorities being needed to push things. Um, Unfortunately, in Oregon, we have a Democrat party supermajority, so it wouldn't matter. Same thing in California. But yeah, I just think like it should be much harder to pass laws,
You know
much
what's really
harder
weird
to
about
change people's lives.
that
And our
majority thing? I was watching this video where this guy was talking about, he was really congratulating the Democrats for ending gerrymandering in several key states. And as I was sitting there listening to him list off the states that have done so good at, ending gerrymandering, I'm like, they're all Democrat states. They're all Democrat majority voters. So of course they don't need gerrymandering. So they can
they
like make
accomplished
the
their
map
goal.
look fair.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
And they
it's
can
crap.
pretend to be the good guys, but you look where Democrats would lose on with a fair map, that's where they're still gerrymandering. And it's just so funny that they're like, well, in the Democrat run states, they don't have gerrymandering because I don't need it. So they're like, oh, and it was
Yeah.
every one of them too.
If you look at what is it, our congressional districts in Oregon, there's like 6 of
Yeah.
them. It's crazy. They all like 4 or 5 of them touch Portland.
Oh, we're lumped in. Coos County is lumped in with Eugene. Do you think Coos County and Eugene have similar interests in any way, shape, or form? Nah, no, they don't, do
What
they?
we if I could pinpoint one issue in all of America, in all of society, it is the urban rural divide. You have urban centers controlling rural areas, and that's not cool, and you wouldn't want it the other way around. And we have to find some way to make those separate and to not have
People
one
who
being able to
don't
control the other.
produce. Absolutely. People who do not produce. People who like, let me think of a
There's
really good
vastly
example here.
different societies.
Someone who
Like,
works as an accountant in a corporation in Manhattan should
right.
not have any say over how a farmer in upstate New York
Yes.
handles his business,
Or
how he
vice versa.
manages his water, how he
Yep.
draws up his counties. These two people should not have any ability to like govern each
None.
other.
None. But how do you do? There's no geographical boundary, right? Like how? Well, I mean, there are, like you could draw a circle around the city, but
No,
besides
mathematically,
that,
you can
like
use industry to do it.
there's
You
got
can
to
buy
be a way to do it. We've got to
there is.
somehow separate the nation into 2 categories somehow, because it's just going to be this eternal conflict, and someday it's going to boil over, because that's
We don't
essentially
have
what
to
we're at.
We don't have to separate it into two necessarily. If you just create your districts by industry, like you may see pockets on the coast have their own districts, the
Yeah, but
Willamette
like picture
Valley do its
Oregon. How
own.
would we both, like right now we're both part of the state of Oregon and it's not working out. Like rural counties in Oregon do not like what's going on in the whole state. So like if you could form 2 new states out of the population of Oregon, how would you do it? Like what would that map look like to get around the little metropolitan circles to separate
Oh, I don't know.
rural
I don't
from?
think it's realistic.
That's it's like, but someday we're gonna have to figure that out or learn how to work together, because this is terrible. It's not working. Yes,
It's
accountants.
really tough to work with people who want to use information that is not based in like real actual behavior. What people actually do. We can't worry about what people say they want, what people say they do. We have to look at how people actually behave. That's kind of like the missing key in that conversation. Because as soon as you go to that, the conversation kind of stalls with a lot of people. Because it's
I think
very
we've
like
just created
ought and
too
should.
many laws. Like if you go back to 100 years ago or 200 years ago, the laws that were in place at the time worked for both of those
Right.
dynamics. Now the laws we have in place don't.
Right. And they're
They're not
picking and
working.
choosing which laws to enforce, but not really being transparent and honest about the fact that, yes, we do pick and choose which laws we enforce. And that's another conversation that needs to happen, honest public conversations.
For sure.
It's going to happen
We went
one way or
over an
another.
hour. Damn it. We're at an hour and almost 10 minutes. But hey, we
Okay,
used to do
wrap
like
it up.
2 or 3. So
I want to go eat
wrap
some
it up.
food,
All
land the
right.
plane.
Well, it was a pleasant conversation, 70 minutes when we had nothing planned. It worked
Yeah,
out, and
yeah.
we'll have to plan better for next week. I know that Lakeside is planning a cleanup. I'm going to get the dates and times
Cool.
tomorrow. They're having a work session, so hopefully I'll get more information on that. But they're going to be cleaning up. I don't know if you guys remember months and months ago, we did some specials on the encampments in Lakeside, and the mayor and the city council have been working to put together an actual cleanup. And so we'll look forward to that and more next week, right here, 6 p.m. with Brandi Martindale and Chris Castleman.
Woo.
Nice talking to you, and thanks everybody for watching. We'll
Always.
see you next